Hey everyone, thank you for joining. Today we're gonna go through some EPMware Q3 2020 product updates. So thanks everyone for joining us today. On today's call, we have myself sitting over here with a nice cup of coffee, not in my office. My name is Abhi Nerurkar. I'm one of the managing directors and co-founders at EPMware. And I also have with me Deven Shah. He's CTO, also co-founder of EPMware. So just a brief snippet before we get started and jump into the juicy details, a little bit about ourselves, a little bit about EPMware. If you haven't heard of us, or if you're new to EPMware, my background has been in the Oracle Hyperion space, SAP space for quite some time. And we started EPMware to get a better grip on metadata management and data governance in the EPM, CPM, and ERP space. So we started off primarily with Oracle Hyperion applications, and we've expanded to quite a bit of other applications across the board now. So today what we're going to do is talk about some of the new features that we're pretty excited about in EPMware that were released in the last 6 months. And of course, we'll get into some of the pretty exciting stuff that's to come in the second half of this year. So I'll pass it over to my colleague, Deven Shah, to just give a brief intro on himself.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me clear.
Yep, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Deven Shah. My primary background is on the technology side for the last 24, 23 years. Primarily, I worked on EBS, Fusion, then Hyperion space like HFM, space planning, and the last 7 years with EPMware. So it is a fantastic journey. We have a lot of updates that happen every month, and this Q3 release that we just released is a phenomenal. Will help our customer a lot. So with that, back to Abhi.
Great, thanks, Deven. So folks, just I see some new people on the call. Of course, are some names that we're very, very familiar with, some of our existing customers. Thank you for joining. And for the folks who are new here, just give you guys a brief intro, really, on what is EPMware, so we can just set the stage. And of course, after this call, feel free to just jump on our website and you can request some more information, or you can reach out to me directly, and we can give you a more comprehensive demo of what the application is and how it works, right? So real quick, EPMware is a cloud and on-premise software. It is exactly the same code base. You get the same feature functions on both offerings of the application, but it's designed for the business user to have a little bit more visibility and control of metadata. What we've seen historically is that customers will put in a series of requests to IT, and IT will really own the metadata. But what EPMware does is it brings together a comprehensive solution of governance, as well as integration and rationalization of metadata, to be able to capture all metadata requests regardless of the platform, bring them together to create one centralized metadata management and governance platform and software product. What we've done differently than some of the other metadata management products are that we've included target system adapters to connect to those target applications. And this is where traditionally a lot of customers have spent quite a large number of hours trying to get that technical integration to work. In addition to that, we've also included out-of-the-box validations. So that means that if you start using EPMware on day one, you're able to load your hierarchy, you're able to manage your hierarchy with requests, put it through a workflow, and deploy it plug and play style to the target application. So once you do that, EPMware also is aware that that target application has received that metadata and will reflect that directly in the EPMware dashboard so that everybody knows what's been successfully deployed to the target app versus not. We're the only solution to bring that full visibility, that end-to-end visibility to the table. So a lot of other products will force you to write logic and scripts to be able to pick up flat files and move them. And what we've seen is that that causes quite a bit of manual processing and introducing additional points of errors in the entire process. So we're looking to be the source of truth for all enterprise metadata management. So most of you might be aware of, what the traditional request process looks like, and it's just a web of spaghetti of creating a request, sending it all over the place, and then, finally hoping that it gets to your target applications successfully. And what we do is we work with our customers to get a better understanding of exactly who the users are that we want to own metadata in the future, and what is the process that they should follow when a request has to go through a workflow and governance set of reviews and approvals before it gets deployed. Finally, what we want to get to is a type of controlled and governed change. Here in this example, we see EPMware acting as a central hub, but not always the source of truth for all metadata. And very commonly, we see metadata that has to be sourced from upstream applications and fed into EPMware. But at the same time, there are users that need to log in and need to author metadata from scratch. So this is really a hybrid model of how folks use EPMware. You can always use it just as applications feeding EPMware and EPMware enriching them before it gets pushed out. Or you can always have all requests manually created by end users and go through a formal workflow and governance process where users will receive reviews and approvals and sign off on metadata within EPMware. So once that's done, EPMware does push that metadata out into the target application. And of course, from our wide variety of target applications for adapters that we've pre-built and included, you're able to simply just select which one you would like to connect to and deploy that metadata. And what EPMware does kind of when it combines all this metadata is it manages the metadata for every single one of these applications and understands the differences and the nuances that each one needs. So you may need certain properties populated for SAP. You may need certain properties populated a different way for Oracle PBCS or for Oracle HFM. And you may need to push it out to an interface table in a flat file in a different export. Well, all of these are managed in EPMware, and with the push of a button, you're simply able to push to all targets automatically from one centralized application. So some of the target applications that we deploy to, you're going to see a lot of Oracle here. We've always, done the best we can when we started to include integration for all Oracle on-premise and cloud applications. A lot of our customers are using a hybrid of on-premise and cloud, as well as a hybrid of EPM and ERP applications. Lately, within the last about a year and a half, we have added support for other ERPs, NetSuite, SAP, CRM like Salesforce, and other EPM applications like Anaplan. We're planning on adding Planful down the road as well. So what we're noticing is a lot of customers are using a variety of different applications to get what they need done. But we do need a metadata management platform that allows us to easily integrate and manage metadata for these applications, but as well as other non-supported applications as well. So we definitely want a place where users can log in, they can create a request, and then EPMware pushes metadata out to all targets simultaneously. So we'll jump into some of the new features that we've added in the first half of the year. So we are very excited to announce that we are 11.2.2 Hyperion certified. So what that means is all the 11.2 to Hyperion on-premise applications are fully EPMware certified. So we have gone through quite a bit of time to import all of our applications on our test environments, upgrade versions to 11.2.2. And we've run through extensive series of tests to make sure that all metadata deployments are not impacted by some of the awesome features that we get from 11.2.2. A lot of Oracle customers, Hyperion customers, are now figuring out what they're going to do as they're on 11.1.2.2 and how they figure out their roadmap to 11.2.2. There are quite a bit of changes when you get to 11.2.2. So folks that are out there that are using EPMA, EPMA is no longer available. So that's something to think about, how you're going to manage metadata. But again, more importantly, a lot of customers are out there on versions prior to 11.1.2.4, and they need a upgrade path. So you can have metadata in EPMware and then simply have an outbound application of 11.2.2 and feed your metadata there. You don't have to necessarily go through an upgrade process to get up to 11.1.2.4 and then get to 11.2.2. So something to think about as we manage metadata or figure out what the roadmap process is going to be for getting up to the latest on-premise application. Now, again, if you have cloud applications, like PBCS or FCCS that are part of your existing landscape, you can use EPMware to manage on-prem and cloud applications together. So we do connect to both applications as part of one complete offering. So many of our customers have, instances of PBCS or ARCS that they're trying out, but they do want to have some on-premise applications that they're just not ready to take to the cloud yet. So a hybrid application landscape is probably one of our most popular landscape options or configuration options. And we're happy to continue to talk about this with you in the future too. So one of my favorites, and I know one of Devin's favorites, of course, is the release of the Fusion Cloud GL adapter. Now, this is really, really cool because it allows plug and play connectivity to the Fusion GL. And what that means, again, is you are logging into EPMware, you are typing in your user ID and password, and then you have developed connectivity to your Fusion GL applications. Now, that means that EPMware manages metadata for value set and value set hierarchies. And all of those hierarchies are available now in EPMware. And we also follow out-of-the-box validations on those hierarchies. So again, it falls in line with a lot of similar concepts for the other adapters that we manage. But here, being able to seamlessly press a button and deploy hierarchy changes directly out to Fusion GL was a pretty large addition for us. And we feel like it's going to be super valuable for customers who are managing those different versions of value set hierarchies. All right, and Devin, if you've got some additional color on this one.
Yeah, sure. So if those folks who are aware of Fusion or ERP or EBS, these are three synonyms. So for Oracle Fusion or Oracle EBS, it is an extremely cumbersome job to load the metadata. First, you have to click gazillion, mouse clicks to go to a page on the web where you enter the value set. Then you have to go to another screen where you load the value into the hierarchies. And then you have to run another concurrent program or scheduled process in Fusion to publish that to the SPS cubes or publish that hierarchy to the end users. So it takes, for one member to add, it takes literally 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. And then only after publishing, you will know all the errors if there are any errors. So it takes a lot of effort. And all with EPMware, it's just a simple clicks. And you can upload many metadata changes just using a bulk upload and other features we have like ERP import. So this allows the end users to visualize all their hierarchies in a single page. It is not possible in Fusion to see the values and the value sets on a single page. They don't have that feature at all. So the GUI point of view, the ability to seamlessly enter metadata, we have done a phenomenal job here, and our clients are using it now. So end user point of view, this is a very big deal.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I didn't even realize like how difficult this process really is until we started doing it. But just like Devin said, I mean, it is a phenomenal number of clicks to manage your hierarchies in Fusion GL. So if that's something that you're dealing with, this is something you want to look at. You can stage all of your hierarchy changes directly in the request over here, and then when they deploy, you're able to visualize that in multiple versions of your hierarchy in Fusion GL. So super powerful. One of our probably biggest additions for this year. The next one is called artifact migration. And what this module allows us to do is to export or import any and all EPMware objects that are created. That means that it includes configurations, it includes security, and it includes metadata as well. So what that allows a user to do is really select the individual artifacts, and this drills down into quite a bit of detail. You can pick individually which application you want to choose. You can drill down and pick workflows. If you have 25 workflows and you just want to migrate one of them, you're able to individually select those. But any of the artifacts that you've configured, you're able to simply just select those and export them. When you export them, they export as a XML, and then you're able to import them. So the most common usage for something like this is taking either a refresh of your production application and then refreshing it onto a UAT so you can perform some tests or updates or enhancements. It's also used as a application backup and restore as well. So, again, this was pretty big. Think, LCM basically for EPMware. So one of the next items is exports. Now, we've always had the ability to export, and in the past, that export has been really tailored towards using adapters or just using one interface. But what we've done here is we've added the export module. And what this does is gives us quite a bit of pre-configured export formats to be able to publish metadata or simply just export metadata as a flat file. Here you can see that we've got an export format or profile that's created, and an export format that allows us to specify what are the application types that we want to export as. So here we've got a planning PBCS export format that's created, and this is an alternative really to using an adapter. If you wanted to export this out to a flat file, this will give you a planning PBCS flat file that you can go ahead and import as you want. We've even had users take an export out of production and then use this to create a refresh of metadata in a development environment so that they can just go and develop certain items in in UAT or in dev. And of course, in addition to PBCS, there's other options out there like HFM, CSV. Devin, what are some of the other ones? I think you've got like custom export formats that we can do as well, right?
Yeah, CSV, flat file, we have interface table, Database view means that you supply a database view for all on-prem customers and infrastructure as service customers that they have their custom views. So using their custom views, the flat file will get generated. So this allows you to integrate with the downstream systems if you have any, and you want to export the metadata out to them. But you do not want to go through complex um, requirement going through VPN tunnel, IPsec tunnel, and whatnot. So the purpose of this export module, export of metadata module is you use a REST API, you configure your export profile here. There's another screen after the export profile where you specify applications, dimensions, and its properties. There's a little detail. This is just a one screenshot, but you have a detail about specifying applications, dimension, and properties. So once you create that profile, you want to export the metadata out from EPMware and put it in your downstream system, whether it's a data warehouse or custom table or whatever. You can do all of that without having to go through the the VPN or IPsec tunnel requirement. So we have ability over here to integrate with the external systems. Now, formats are planning, PPCS, SBase, HFM, all the Hyperion hits mentioned over here, flat file. You can have your own custom delimiter and qualifier, or you can use database view which has a complex business logic embedded. Then you can use those columns from the database views as a source to generate the flat file. And using this, you are able to now go out of EPMware and create a pipe between EPMware and your data warehousing system in whatever format you like.
Yeah, and one thing that you have here, I don't think we've talked about in a prior conversation, is like the flags for active members only, right? And what this does is sometimes you want to be able to export what is active in your workflow in EPMware versus what is active or live in your production application. So here you're able to, just with a simple click of a flag, get a view that gives you the difference between what is in flight in EPMware and what that hierarchy looks like versus what your production hierarchy looks like. And a lot of applications that choose to subscribe metadata from EPMware really benefit from this, because in most cases you'll want them to subscribe to active members only, because that means that they're fully signed off, they're fully ready for subscription or deployment. And they're able to log into EPMware and consume that metadata on demand. And we've had customers actually do that, where they're simply calling EPMware via REST API and consuming metadata either on an hourly basis or on a nightly basis. But they're always pulling a live view of what's ready to be consumed in that target app. So the next feature is ERP Import. Now, some of you might be familiar with ERP Import, and what this module does is it allows inbound metadata to flow into EPMware instead of being created manually, like clicking in and creating a request and identifying what that metadata is. In some cases, we have metadata that needs to flow from an inbound ERP application. And when it is identified as new, that's when EPMware says, okay, well, we need to now enrich this metadata and push this out to a series of target applications. So that's really how ERP import is used. And we've had this functionality for quite some time. But what we've recently added is enhancements to allow a user to load a file or populate an interface table, but then we create the delta. So traditionally, we were creating the delta logic when we performed an implementation. But now what we do is we allow users to grab a flat file, for example, and have a series of columns in that flat file. So you might have, like, member name, parent member name, and description, and some properties. Now you might choose to feed this file on a monthly basis, but as part of the implementation, you would have to write what the delta, how the delta logic was calculated. So we've added that process into EPMware out of the box now. So you're simply just loading a file structure, and then every time you load that same file structure, EPMware automatically will identify new members that are created, members that are moved, members that are deleted. And when it identifies those changes, it'll create a request out of them. So here you can see in this interface that one execution was run, one line was processed successfully. And down below, you can see what that new member is that was found. And here we can see that EPMware automatically created request 1219. And now 1219 can go into a workflow, or an admin can come in and say, okay, I'm going to take a look at this request and see how I want to enrich it manually. So you can stage this to have full lights out processing on certain dimensions, or just like I said, just create a hybrid workflow where EPMware simply runs against an interface or runs against a flat file, identifies new changes in a source, application, or dimension, and then just alerts either a user or an admin that there's some enrichment that needs to be done, or some approval that needs to be tagged in EPMware before it gets pushed out. So the next one is a report. And this report is probably one of my favorites now. It is called Rationalize Hierarchies. Now, what this report allows us to do is, once you pick a source application and you pick a target application, EPMware will identify all of the differences between that application. So if you say, I have a dimension and I want it to look like this target, now EPMware will identify all of the different incremental members that need to be either moved or deleted or created in order to have hierarchy 1 look like hierarchy 2. Now, this is probably most beneficial for a new implementation where you say, all right, well, I have 2 hierarchies. They're not really the same. And to be able to sort out what that hierarchy is going to require in terms of changes is going to require quite a bit of movement and activity. And we don't always have the option of just saying, all right, I'm just going to recreate an entire structure and blow that structure in the target application away and reload it because of data integrity requirements. So what this does is it allows us to run the report, identify what the differences are, and then the output of this report creates individual transactions that tell us what it needs to be changed in the target application. And it'll create those changes in EPMware. Now, once that change is deployed, you have a fully rationalized structure between a source application and a target application. So again, really, really beneficial when it comes to starting an implementation of EPMware where you're looking to create some change, or even if you're saying, all right, well, we don't have rationalized hierarchies, but we do want to be in a position to be able to have some greater cohesiveness between those applications. This report would really help. So Deven, Deven's team was, very, very critical in coming up with some pretty advanced algorithms to create this. So Deven, any updates from you on this one?
Right, sure. So basically, this is like a jigsaw puzzle, right? When you have a source hierarchy, and you can select the top member, or you can select any particular branch of it. Say, I want to rationalize my balance sheet hierarchy between the 2 applications, say HFM and planning, for example, right? We know that there are discrepancies. We know there are some issues with it. So how can I make it rationalized? Because some member need to be moved out, some member need to be created. So we have created these various parameters for you to identify the delta and what to do with it. The output of this report is in the bulk upload format. That means you can take it out, create a request, using a bulk upload, select the target application dimension that you have selected here in this report, and you are done. The result of that request should be, that particular branch should look like whatever it is in the source application. So this will tremendously help you to move towards your rationalization process quicker, faster, efficient way, and audit, and it will also go through audit way, through the audit process. So that is the beauty of this particular report. Of course, this report will have it will work good for the primary instances. For shared instances, which are created a primary instance on other applications, will have some quirks to be sorted out. It will also need some additional properties to be ported in the target application, as long as you have the source and target in different application types. You need to work on the additional properties. But members and its description will automatically port over when you create a new member in the target app. So yeah, this report is like 80 to 90% will resolve your main issue about how to rationalize hierarchy between two disparate applications.
Yeah, and then we should add that like one of our customers just went live with this and rationalize hierarchy between Fusion GL as well as PBCS, and the process of manually doing this would have taken a few weeks, and we were able to execute this within just a series of days, just to run this report and align those structures. So super exciting, and definitely very beneficial if you have to take on an exercise like this in the future. So what's coming down the road in the next 6 months or so? We've got quite a variety of changes in terms of enhancements. There's always bug fixes, of course, that we've got lined up. One of the big things that we want to work on that we'll see are additional dashboard analytics. So our dashboard hasn't gone through much of a change in the past, but it's an item where we certainly want to add additional analytics and metrics on all request activities. So we can kind of jump in there. You can run a series of reports right now, or you can filter down on existing requests. But what we want to do is give you some greater analytics and metrics upon just first glance at dashboard. It is right now still in real time, and any change still reflects in real time, but there's quite a bit to add in there and to be available for end users. In addition to that, drill down on audit history is something that we want to allow users to execute directly from this dashboard, so be able to get those analytics and metrics and then filter down directly into a request and see how many different applications that request will hit. In addition to that, hierarchy rationalization from the dashboard, as well as adding a document repository. So just adding quite a bit of more end user based assistance to be able to get the right documents to either help you understand what to do when you log into EPMware, or even understand where requests lie, and also be automatically notified as a user on the state of given requests. And that's something that we certainly want to add in. Also is a pretty big announcement for us is a one-stream adapter. Just like our other adapters, again, this one is going to provide seamless connectivity to one-stream applications. Of course, we're going to add in built-in validations for all transactions, and you should be able to, from EPMware, create metadata. You can add support for extended dimensions as well. So if you need a member in your primary hierarchy, but then you also need it in your extended dimensions, EPMware will make that change automatically, as it does on alternate hierarchy structures in Oracle Hyperion. So there's been quite a large demand for this adapter and this connectivity. And there's quite a number of customers out there that are entertaining some new applications or new um, ways to manage metadata for consolidations, budgeting, and planning. And OneStream really does a great job of that. And we've seen that with all the hype that's been going on in the past few years. So we've gotten a number of customers who just reached out and said, hey, we're already replacing Hyperion, and we want to be able to manage metadata kind of the same way when we were using either DRM or whatever EPMA, but we have other applications that need to share metadata with OneStream, and we still want the same benefits of governance that we apply. So that will certainly get us there. So again, completely code-free, plug and play connectivity to the target app. And again, with that connectivity comes the deployment confirmation, right? So when you deploy from EPMware, you know exactly what has been deployed, what has not been deployed, and the success or failure of that. So that's, again, something that no one else does. And where honestly, like Deven and his team had spent, a ton of time to perfect that and to get it right. So those of you out there that have built this process know exactly, what it takes to build integrations. And sometimes we shape time on implementations where, where we want to build that end-to-end connectivity. So again, that the ability to do that is something we're very, very proud of, and we take it pretty seriously if there's any bugs or issues in that process. So again, we're still adding more updates. You can look to hear more from us in the coming months. We're very active on LinkedIn and trying to get as many webinars out there on use cases. But if you've seen something here and you'd like to hear some more, feel free to just shoot us an email, info@epmware.com, or just get on the website, and you should be able to pop in a form to ask for some more information. But we're happy to talk about what an implementation could look like for you, or of course there's a number of existing customers on the call today, so thank you for joining. If you guys have any questions, just please reach out to me. But again, thank you again for joining. Looking forward to releasing some really great functionality this year and keep the momentum going. So thank you, everyone. Take care and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.